Hello dear students. Let's see one more example on pointer. Now here we have been asked again to state the output of the given program. Just see, in main we have two variables again, x which is having value 10, y which is having value 20. So in the memory we may say that x is stored using 2 bytes, assuming that on my machine integer takes 2 bytes. So 2 consecutive bytes have been occupied by x and x is having a value 10. We can assume that x has been stored at location 100, 101. So 2 consecutive bytes. That means address of x is 100. Also, we may assume that y is stored in 2 byte memory location and maybe address of y is 200, 201 and the value of y is 20. Continue reading the program. Next line declares two pointers, P1 and P2 of int type. So P1 will be a pointer in the memory occupying 2 bytes. Recall, any pointer occupies 2 bytes, whether it is int pointer, float pointer or double pointer, just to remind you. And P2 is another pointer which is also int pointer stored in the memory. Maybe address of P1 itself is 500, 501. These are the 2 consecutive bytes where P1 is stored, and P2, which is a pointer, has address 600 and 601. The next two lines, P1 is equal to and x. Sorry, this line, let's read only this line which I am ticking. P1 is equal to and x means P1 stores address of x, and check that address of x is 100. So P1 stores 100. Now we say P1 points to x. And we also know asterisk P1 is value of x, or asterisk P1 is alias of x. That is, wherever you see asterisk P1 written, you can assume that x is written over that place because asterisk P1 is same as x. Now have a look at next line, P2 is equal to P1. Now P2 is equal to P1 here means the pointer P2, that is P2 should take the value of P1. What is the value of P1 in the picture? Value of P1 in the picture is 100. So P2 should store 100. Don't forget that P2 is a pointer and P2 is storing the value of P1. That means P2 is storing address. The address stored by P2 now is 100. So P2 points to the same location or the same variable to which P1 points. In short, P1 and P2 point to the same variable x. So now onwards, if you see asterisk P2, this notation, this will also mean x. This is also same as x. Asterisk P2 is nothing but value to which P2 points, and that is value of x. On the next line, we are printing 4 values using %d format. Just read this as we are printing x, y, x, y. These two things, oh, I'm so sorry, x, x, I'm so sorry. Just see, asterisk P1 is x. Check the picture. Asterisk P1 is nothing but x, and asterisk P2 is also x. So the first output of the program will be 10, that is x, correct? X is printed, then y, which is 20, then asterisk P1, which is x, so 10, and then asterisk P2, which is also x, 10. Now have a look at next line. P2 is equal to and y. Just check this. How do you read that? P2 stores address of y, isn't it? Yes, P2 stores address of y. So P2 now should store a new value. P2 should store address of y. Address of y is 200. So P2 will be no more 100, but it will store 200. Look at that. Whose address is P2 now storing? P2 is now storing address of y because address of y is 200. What that means is P2 will discontinue to point to x, that is 100, but P2 will now onwards point to 200. Isn't it so? You can see how P2 has changed the address that it stores. So now if you write asterisk P2 anywhere in the code, it will mean Y. Just recently, asterisk P2 meant X, but now asterisk P2 is Y. So what will be the output due to next line? We are printing X, that will be 10. We are printing Y, that will be 20. Note the diagram, Y is 20, correct? X is 10. And then we are printing asterisk P1. Be careful, asterisk P1 means value to which P1 points, and that is X. So 10 will be printed. And then we are finally printing asterisk P2. Just be careful, asterisk P2 means value to which P2 points. And value to which P2 points was X some time back, but now asterisk P2 means Y. So this last value printed will be the value of Y, which is 20, and there ends our program. So this is the output of the code. You know, by explaining so many examples, what your teacher is trying to do is that whenever you are asked any pointer program, a program which involves pointer operations, then it is always better to draw the diagram of the memory and show the variables and their addresses, and then read the program line after line, and there will be no trouble whatsoever to know what's the output. The same thing can be done in the GATE exam. Okay, let's see whether we have some more example. Oh yes, we have an example here. Now just check this very interesting example. What's the output of this code? Simple again. Okay. A question asked is, what will be the output of the given program if user enters integer value 5 due to scanf? So check the program, main starts and there is a variable X. So there is a variable X stored in the memory. Assume integer takes 2 bytes again, and address at which X is stored is 100, 101. But currently, you know, X is not assigned any value. So X will be storing garbage value. You remember, some garbage value X stores. Then there is a pointer declared of int type. So in the memory, there will be a pointer P, which is of course 2 bytes. And maybe address of P itself is 500, 501. Please manage if this is going out of screen. But P is stored in the memory. Next line says P should store address of X. Just check, P will store 100 because address of X is 100. So P points to X. Notice how I am scanning this program, how I am reading the program. I am not at all bothered about what is the next line to come. I am just reading line by line and understanding the line by its merit. Now let's read the next line. Print, enter some integer and scanf. Just check the scanf. We are scanning a number, but notice what we are scanning. We are scanning P. Usually we write scanf, not usually, always scanf %d, and then we write address operator, isn't it? Suppose we wanted to scan the value of X, so we would have written AND X. But in this code, instead of AND X, P is written. But you tell me, isn't P same as, what is P storing? Come on, P is storing address of X, and that's what we did. At this particular line, we have said P stores address of X. So, do you agree that scanf %d and X or scanf %d P, both are same, because writing P over here means AND X. So, whatever value that you will scan through the keyboard will go at address of X, because P is nothing but address of X. Just have a look at this again. Let's see. Suppose you give scanf %d and X. What does it mean? It means whatever value you will enter through the keyboard, let's say you enter 5, then 5 should be stored in the memory, obviously. But where will that 5 get stored? 5 will get stored at the address of X. And what is the address of X? 100. Rather 100, 101. Begin address is 100. So 5 will be stored at the location which is specified in the scanf. Okay. How do you read this again? Scan the value through keyboard, and whatever value like 5 should be stored at the address of X, and address of X is 100. So 5 will get stored at the location 100. Correct? So what if I say scanf %d P, let's say. where P is already storing address of X. Then writing P or writing AND X means the same. So it means that value that we enter using scanf would be stored at the address of X, because P is nothing but address of X. So writing scanf%dp means you are scanning X, and writing scanf%d and X means you are scanning X. Same thing, both mean. Okay, what is the outcome of this? That we have stored value phi in the variable X, isn't it? Now next line says X plus plus, obviously X will become 6. Oh, I'm so sorry. X will become 6. And then we are printing X. So 6 will be printed. The output will be 6. Okay. And then the program ends. What was so important to understand here, see this scanf again. This can be confusing if somebody doesn't know fundamentals of pointers. But I'm sure after watching the earlier videos, you know what I am talking about. Somebody will say, okay, we are scanning P. No, we aren't scanning P, because P itself is the address of X. So whatever value we give will be stored in X variable, and then we are doing X plus plus. So X will become 6. It was given that value entered by the user is 5, and then 6 will be printed. I hope each and every point in this example program is very, very well understood by all of you. Thank you very much.